Zombies return in Resident Evil 6, the most ambitious Resident Evil game of all time. This time around, Capcom has pushed the franchise to new boundaries. However, they may have pushed things a little too far. Resident Evil 6 is the biggest Resident Evil game ever. With truly remarkable and unforgettable environments, polished with pristine animations, the game still looks excellent even when compared to today's standards. Not to mention, the game's visuals exceed Resident Evil Revelations 2, the PlayStation 4's latest Resident Evil title. There are a total of 4 separate campaigns. All of them are 2-player co-op. Each story is unique, but they don't have the exploration I would expect from a Resident Evil game. During each campaign, the 7 main characters will meet. The game then forces you to replay the same areas, bosses, and cutscenes more than once, which really weakens the game's replay value and makes you feel as if you're backtracking. After I beat all 4 stories, I did not feel the need or urge to go back. A new feature to the series is the use of a perk system. While it does allow you to customize your guns and character attributes, this whole section felt bland and I honestly think the game could have done without it. Resident Evil 6 also marks the grand return of fan favorite Leon S. Kennedy. Leon and his partner Helena's story sticks closer to the classic Resident Evil horror genre, dropping you in creepy, dark, compact areas, causing you to feel claustrophobic and uneasy about your every move. Sadly, the game tosses too many timed set pieces into the mix and it gets annoying and quickly pulls you out of the horror experience. Resident Evil 5's protagonist, Chris Redfield, also returns alongside his partner, Pierce Nivens, with a campaign that is more action-oriented. Tossing all the horror out the window, Chris and Pierce's campaign is a shoot-first, ask-questions-later kind of story that often doesn't feel like a Resident Evil game, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, it just wasn't quite what I was expecting. However, some of the set-piece bro-shooter moments did have me on the edge of my seat, and I must say, the ending caught me off guard with an emotional, unsuspecting outcome. Wesker's son Jake Mueller and classic Resident Evil 2 character Sherry Birkin have an action-packed adventure with some really memorable moments. The game has you running from a nemesis-like creature. It was a terrifying experience and one of the most suspenseful segments in the game. There's an interesting character dynamic between Jake and Sherry, but it ultimately doesn't pay off very well. I'd like to see more of the two in future installments. Lastly, the mysterious Ada Wong is back with a campaign that ties together all the other stories. I don't want to speak much on Ada's campaign because it's very story heavy and there's potential spoilers. However, I will say that this campaign features some awesome puzzle solving and really brings back the nostalgic, classic Resident Evil feel. It seems Capcom isn't sure what direction to take one of their most beloved series. Resident Evil 6 is the outcome when you can't focus on one genre. You get an action-packed horror game, which is a bit awkward and doesn't work as well as I would have liked it to. All flaws aside, Resident Evil 6 still holds up well on the PlayStation 4. There's a lot to like, but plenty to dislike to go with it. If you're a Resident Evil fan and you missed out on this one on the PlayStation 3, you should pick this up and see what you think. For more reviews of future Resident Evil installments, be sure to subscribe and check out our Resident Evil 5 and 4 reviews when they hit PlayStation 4 in the coming months.